Excess charges by bank has been a source of worry to many Nigerians, even as banks indulge in various charges under different guises. There have been several complaints from the banking Nigerians on various issues. Accordingly, the CBN, in most of its annual economic report, confirmed that most of the complaints involved excess bank charges. There are over 72 million bank accounts in Nigeria today. The Nigerian Senate, in October 2018, as part of its resolution, passed a motion for the upward review of banks' ATM withdrawal limit. It wants banks to configure ATM machines to allow withdrawals of up to 40,000 naira, up from 20,000 naira and 10,000 naira.
Well, now that they brought it closer and made it easier, they should take their charges, but all the same, they are becoming too many, too much. This maintenance, that. I think that is becoming too much. It should be regulated.
The charges of the bank, honestly, at times, there's all this 52 naira per any transaction and what have you. You see, what I'm seeing at least at times is very exorbitant. What's supposed to be at least, why not a charges? An account can be charged within a month. Let's say there's a specific charges per month, or let's say a week, something like that. But what if you can contact an ATM or any transaction paid, depending on how many times you withdraw money, that's how many times you will be charged.
There are different charges and fees approved by the CBN, such as interest on deposit, as well as interest rate and lending fees. Other charges introduced by banks include new hardware tokens for 3,500 naira. E-transfers below and above 10 million naira attracts 50 naira charge. Card maintenance fee 50 naira monthly, while the issuance of debit cards attract 1,000 naira. 50 kobo for stamp duty and 4 naira for telephone alert messages. However, ATM withdrawals from same bank are free, while withdrawals using other banks' ATM attract 65 naira after third withdrawal within a month. We sought to speak with some banks on this matter, but typical of the Nigerian factor, our request was turned down. So we decided to do out peace to calm in front of this bank. The charges may not really mean much to the elite in the country, but for the ordinary Nigerian, 65 naira is indeed a big deal. The shocker is that these excessive bank charges have prevented most Nigerians from banking.
When you do 3 transactions, they charge a particular amount. I think the amount is still high because you go with your ATM to a different bank, and now there's I think a maximum limit of what you can withdraw at a time. If you need that amount that is higher, you have to withdraw multiple times. So that means on those multiple charges, once it's more than 3, you now start paying, I think, 50 or 65 naira. And imagine a lot of people doing that. So the bank charge for that particular transaction is high. If they can bring it a little bit down.
For the banks, they know that no customer will be distracted from important things to chase an insignificant amount of money. But despite the huge outcry against the excessive charges, this former banker thinks otherwise.
I know that most times all these things are actually stated in the bank documents. That is the contract that consumers come and sign that they want to open an account in the bank. So it is stated clearly. For example, if you come to take a facility in the bank, the conditions to you drawing the money is stated clearly. That if you don't maybe return the money in a particular time, for every time the money is still with you, you have those default charges to pay. And if your account is overdrawn, you have to pay. But looking at it secondly, what people complain is that even when the account is overdrawn, it's in a debit balance, you are still punishing them for that debit balance, and the amount they even took is even less than the amount that maybe when they pay you back they get. So I just feel that these things are clearly stated in the bank.
In Nigeria, the Federal Competition Consumer Protection Council employs several regulatory tools to monitor and modify the behavior of service providers and manufacturers while handling complaints from Nigerians.
There are certain people you hear complain about certain banks, and they say this bank just overcharges us for no good reason. And then the other one is the ATM dispense error, where people go to use their debit cards and they give the instruction to take some money. They get a debit alert, which means money has left their account, and they don't get the corresponding value in cash. And even though there is the guideline or regulation by CBN that should be reversed within 24 hours or so, it should be reversed within a short time. That is not always the case, and you find people they try to use the bank's complaint redress mechanism. It doesn't work, and then they still have to come to us, and obviously that's not good enough. You want to use your hard-earned money when you want to use it. Yeah, we expect that ordinarily the banks should self-regulate. So we tell consumers, please first go to the bank. But you see, the problem is because of the lack of respect for customers, you find banks treating them, telling them to come back, give us 14 working days. And then we remind the banks about the CBN regulations and then ask them to say, would you rather sort this thing out, or you want us to now talk about regulation? And more often than not, you find that they quickly do that. So that's one way we...
Rootstv attempted to speak with the Central Bank of Nigeria, the country's monetary regulator, but it declined to comment. However, there is a strong condemnation of the practice of excess bank charges because it is not in line with global best practices in banking. Given the rising cases of these worrisome deductions by banks against the statutory prescription, the monetary authorities are advised to come out with stringent measures to stop the ugly trend if it wants more Nigerians to be financially included. Itogi Moore edit. Rootstv Nigeria.